Hello, my thought for this week from the book of Jeremiah is old habits die hard. And here are the verses from Jeremiah chapter 13. Can an Ethiopian change his skin, or a leopard its spots? Neither can you do good who are accustomed to doing evil. And then a verse from Jeremiah 17. The heart is deceitful above all things and beyond cure. Who can understand it? When I was involved with Holbrook Church in Horsham a few years ago, a guy came along to our church who had recently been released, discharged from prison, and he'd been there serving drug-related offences. He eventually, it's a long story, but he became a Christian through another church in the town. And I heard that he was making really good progress. But a while later, I saw him lumbering along the road, and he didn't look good. He had his head down, and I could see he was heading for the pharmacy, which is in the park in Horsham, for his 9 o'clock in the morning methadone treatment to help him kick his heroin addiction. It seemed his old ways had dragged him back. It seemed for him, I call him Paul, it seems for him that old habits die hard. Does that happen to you as well as to me in the way that it happened to Paul? Certainly it's true in my life that I'm dragged back into patterns of behaviour I thought I'd left behind long ago. So why is it so hard to change? Why do we find it so hard? Why can't we get ourselves to do the things that are right? Why, to repeat the phrase, why do old habits die hard? The answer the Bible gives is down to our fallen nature. We do the things that we want. We are motivated by our desires and are controlled, in fact, by our feelings in a given moment. And only God can change the heart from which springs all our behaviour, our desires, our wants and our emotions. But of course the wonderful news for us who are believers in the Lord Jesus Christ is that when we become Christians, God gives us a new nature, new desires. So why is it that it's often that our old ways beckon us back again, as they did for Paul? You might be able to remember the 1976 Tammy Wynette song, An Old Love Turned Memory. The song is about she meets an old lover who she'd forgotten about. She rings him up by mistake, and it turns out that all those emotions and those feelings have not completely gone away. It's an old love turned memory, but it still turns the world upside down, the lyrics go. Like Paul, our old ways can drag us back, and we can find ourselves in those old habits that we thought we'd left behind. We can be like the Israelites, who Jeremiah describes as accustomed to doing evil, in the habit of doing things that we know are wrong. And once we establish a sinful pattern of behaviour, it's hard to break. I squeeze the toothpaste in the middle rather than at the end. I know that's not a simple pattern of behaviour, but is a habit that's difficult to change. I become angry in a particular situation rather than reacting with love and grace. I'm consumed by self-absorbed anxiety rather than loving others around me. Patterns of sinful behaviour that cause us great pain. But you know, the great news, the good news, the wonderful news for those of us who are believers in the Lord Jesus Christ is that though we can't change ourselves any more that we can change the colour of our skin, or any more than the leopard could change its spots. God is able to change our hearts. He is able to change us from the inside out. He is able to transform our lives. And he does it in a wonderful way. And we'll think a bit more about that in our thought for the week next week.